take off that uniform and leave my hotel.
The entire dining room went silent. Amara Okafor stood frozen beside a 7-year-old girl who was still struggling to catch her breath. In Amara's hand was a used EpiPen. On the table beside the child sat a half-eaten chocolate dessert sprinkled with crushed cashews. And standing directly in front of Amara was the last man she ever wanted to see again, Damilare Adebayo, billionaire, owner of the Adebayo Grand Lagos, and the man she had loved 6 years earlier. "Daddy, no!" Zara Adebayo reached weakly toward Amara from the chair where a paramedic was checking her pulse. "She saved me." Dami barely seemed to hear his daughter. His dark eyes remained fixed on Amara. For 6 years, she had disappeared from his life. No goodbye, no explanation, nothing. And now, somehow, she was standing inside his own hotel beside his daughter during a medical emergency. "What were you doing with her?" Amara stared at him. "Saving her life." Dami's jaw tightened. The restaurant manager stepped forward nervously. "Sir, Amara wasn't even assigned to this private dinner." That was enough. Fear became anger, and 6 years of buried resentment exploded in one sentence. "You're fired." Amara's face changed, not because she was surprised, because somehow, after 6 years, Dami still knew exactly how to hurt her. She slowly removed her black apron. Zara started crying. "Daddy, please." Amara folded the apron carefully, placed it on the table, then looked at Dami. "You still make decisions before you know the truth." She picked up her handbag and walked away. Dami watched her disappear through the employee door. He had no idea that within 24 hours, he would discover that Amara had not endangered his daughter. She had saved her. And the reason she disappeared 6 years earlier would force him to question everything he believed about his family. 6 weeks before that night, Amara had arrived at the Adebayo Grand Lagos, believing it was simply another job. At 33, she was trying to rebuild her life. Her mother's bakery had nearly collapsed after years of debt. Amara had spent most of her savings trying to keep the business alive, but eventually she needed stable work. A friend told her that a luxury hotel on Victoria Island was hiring experienced restaurant staff. Amara applied without paying much attention to the ownership. Then, on her first morning, she stepped into the marble lobby. Her shoes slowed against the polished floor. Above the reception desk was the Adebayo family crest. Amara stopped breathing. The hotel supervisor turned. "Are you all right?" She forced a smile. "I'm fine." But she wasn't. The name Adebayo carried 6 years of pain, and at the center of that pain was Damilare. Dami had not always been the cold businessman Lagos knew now. At 39, he was one of Nigeria's most successful hospitality executives. The Adebayo family owned luxury hotels, commercial property, restaurants, and private residences across Lagos, Abuja, and Accra. Business magazines described him as disciplined and brilliant. Employees described him as impossible to read. But Amara remembered another version of him. 6 years earlier, before the tailored suits became armor, Dami would visit her mother's bakery after closing. He would sit on the counter eating meat pies that had been left too long in the warmer. Amara would laugh at him. "You own 5 restaurants and you're here eating yesterday's puff puff. I came for the company." "You came because you like free food." "I like both." They had met at a charity event. Dami had attended because his family sponsored it. Amara had been helping her mother cater desserts. He noticed her because she argued with him. He had complained that a cake was too sweet. Amara told him politely that nobody had forced him to finish 2 slices. He laughed so hard that evening that he came back the next day. Their relationship grew quietly. They drove along the Lekki coast at night. They ate suya from roadside vendors, while his driver waited several meters away pretending not to notice. They had coffee in small cafes, where no one treated him like an Adebayo. For almost 2 years, Amara was the one place Dami did not feel like an heir. Then Grace Okafor became ill. Amara's mother had always been strong. She ran the bakery almost entirely by herself. She raised Amara after her husband died. So when Grace collapsed one afternoon, Amara assumed she was exhausted. She was wrong. The diagnosis was serious. Grace needed urgent surgery and specialized follow-up care. The amount required was far beyond what Amara could afford. Amara sold jewelry. She borrowed money. She called relatives. It still wasn't enough. Dami wanted to help, but Amara resisted. I don't want your family believing I'm with you because of money. Who cares what they believe? I do. Dami held her face gently. You're going to be my wife one day. Stop treating my life like you're visiting. Amara almost cried. She had no idea that Dami's father had already decided that day would never come. Chief Gabriel Adebayo had built the family empire before handing daily operations to his son. At 68, he still controlled the family trust. He came from a generation where reputation mattered more than emotion. He believed marriages in powerful families were alliances, and in his eyes, Amara was unsuitable. Not because she lacked character, because she lacked status. Grace's illness gave him an opportunity. One evening, Amara was sitting alone outside her mother's hospital room when Chief Gabriel arrived. He wore a dark agbada embroidered with subtle gold thread. Amara stood immediately. Good evening, sir. Sit. His tone was calm. That frightened her more. He placed a folder beside her. I understand your mother requires treatment. Amara stiffened. She does. I can pay for everything. She stared at him. No, thank you. Listen, before pride destroys someone you love. Her hands tightened. Chief Gabriel opened the folder. Inside were documents from a private hospital. Grace could be transferred immediately. Surgery could happen within days. Everything would be paid. Amara looked at him. What do you want? He didn't hesitate. Leave my son. For several seconds, she genuinely thought she had misunderstood. I'm sorry? Damilare is preparing to take full control of this family's businesses. He cannot spend the next decade fighting unnecessary battles because of a relationship he will eventually outgrow. Amara stood. I'm not discussing my relationship with you. Your mother may not have time for your principles. That stopped her. Chief Gabriel pushed the folder closer. If you walk away from Damilare and keep this arrangement private, your mother gets the best treatment available. Amara's eyes filled with tears. And if I refuse? His silence answered before his words did. Then her bills remain your responsibility. Amara walked away from him. She immediately called Dami. No answer. She called again. And again. 17 times. She went to his apartment in Ikoyi. Security refused to let her upstairs. They said Dami had traveled unexpectedly. What Amara did not know was that Chief Gabriel had sent his son to London for an emergency negotiation. Dami's personal phone had somehow remained behind. For nearly 12 hours, Amara tried to reach him. Then the hospital called. Grace's condition had worsened. Amara returned to the hospital. Chief Gabriel was waiting. She signed. Grace was transferred that night. 3 days later, she underwent surgery. And Amara kept her side of the agreement. She changed her number, left Lagos, and vanished from Dami's life. Chief Gabriel told his son a different story. He said Amara had accepted money to leave. He told Dami she had demanded financial security once she realized the Adebayo family would never support the relationship. Dami did not want to believe him. Then his calls stopped going through. His letters came back. Amara disappeared. Eventually, anger became easier than heartbreak. Years passed. Dami married someone else. The marriage was not unhappy, but it was never the kind of love he had known before. His wife, Neka, gave birth to Zara. Then, 2 years earlier, Neka died unexpectedly after complications from surgery. After that, Dami changed. His world became business, and his daughter. Nothing else mattered. That was why Amara spent the first month at the hotel avoiding him. She used service elevators. She traded shifts. If Dami had an event in the restaurant, Amara found a reason to work elsewhere. It worked. Until Zara found her. The little girl had escaped from her nanny one Saturday afternoon while Dami attended a meeting upstairs. Amara found her sitting alone at a restaurant table, drawing on a napkin. "Are you lost?" Zara looked up. "No. Does anyone know where you are?" The little girl considered that carefully. "I hope not." Amara laughed. 10 minutes later, she found Zara's nanny. Before leaving, Zara handed Amara the napkin. It was supposed to be a horse. It looked more like a goat with 5 legs. "This is for you." Amara smiled. "I'll treasure it forever." And she did. After that day, Zara kept returning. Amara taught her how to fold napkins into birds. Zara showed her school projects. Sometimes they shared slices of fruit during quiet afternoons. One afternoon, Zara suddenly said, "My mommy died." Amara stopped folding the napkin. "I'm sorry." Zara shrugged. "Daddy doesn't talk about her much." Amara looked away. For the first time in years, she wondered what Dami's life had become after she left. Then Zara said, "I think my daddy would like you." Amara almost dropped the glass in her hand. "I don't think so. You haven't met him." Amara gave a sad little smile. "Yes, I have." 3 days later, Dami walked into the restaurant unexpectedly. Amara saw him first. She disappeared into the kitchen, but not fast enough. Dami had seen her. That evening, he called the restaurant manager. "Amara Okafor works here." "Yes, sir." "How long?" "A little over a month." Dami looked through the glass wall toward the dining room. "Keep her away from my private events." When Amara heard, she pretended it didn't matter. It did. Then came Zara's birthday. The family reserved a private section of the restaurant. Amara was not scheduled to serve them. Another employee called in sick. The manager approached her. "I need help for 2 hours. Just stay on the far side." Amara should have refused. Instead, she agreed. Dinner went smoothly. Then dessert arrived. Zara had a severe cashew allergy. The kitchen knew. Her meals were prepared separately, but 2 nearly identical chocolate desserts were placed beside each other. One was safe. The other contained crushed cashews. A temporary server took the wrong one. Amara noticed the nuts from several tables away. She ran. "Wait!" Zara had already taken a bite. Within seconds, she started coughing. Her breathing became difficult. Amara rushed to her. "Where's her EpiPen?" The nanny searched Zara's bag. Amara administered it immediately. Someone called emergency services. Then Dami walked in. He saw his daughter struggling. He saw Amara beside her. He saw the dessert. Then the manager said Amara wasn't even supposed to be serving the table. Fear did the rest. Dami fired her. That night, Zara was kept at the hospital for observation. She was stable, but she refused to speak to her father. Finally, Dami said, "You're angry with me." Zara turned toward the window. "Amara saved me." Dami rubbed his forehead. "We don't know what happened." "Yes, we do." She looked at him. "The other lady brought the cake." Dami went still. "Amara shouted before I ate it." The next morning, Dami went straight to hotel security. He watched the footage. The temporary server delivered the dessert. Amara saw the cashews. Amara ran. Amara administered the EpiPen. His stomach turned. He had fired the woman who saved his daughter. Then the security officer said something else. "Sir, there's more." Earlier footage showed Zara visiting Amara repeatedly, laughing with her, folding napkins, drawing, and Amara repeatedly leaving areas whenever Dami approached. She wasn't trying to get close to him. She had been doing everything possible to avoid him. Dami went to human resources. He opened Amara's emergency contact details. Grace Okafor. His mind returned to the hospital 6 years earlier. Grace's sudden transfer, the expensive treatment, Amara disappearing almost immediately afterward. For the first time, the timing bothered him. Dami called the accountant who had worked for his father for decades. I need every payment my father made to Grace Okafor's hospital 6 years ago. Silence. Then the accountant said, Damilare, are you certain? Dami's chest tightened. Why wouldn't I be? 3 hours later, a folder arrived. Inside was proof that Chief Gabriel had paid every medical bill. Behind it was the agreement. Amara would leave Dami. Amara would never disclose the arrangement. Amara would disappear from his life. Dami read it twice. Then he found his father's private note. He had lied. Amara had never demanded money. Not 1 naira had gone to her. Every payment had gone directly to Grace's treatment. The woman he hated for choosing money had actually chosen her dying mother, and his own father had made love the price. That evening, Dami found Amara at her mother's bakery. She was packing boxes behind the counter. When he entered, she looked up. What do you want? Dami placed the agreement in front of her. Amara's face drained of color. Where did you get that? My father's files. She closed her eyes. Why didn't you tell me? Amara looked at him. I tried. Dami said nothing. I called you 17 times. I went to your apartment. Your security refused to let me upstairs. Dami remembered London, the missing phone, his father's insistence that the trip could not wait. Everything suddenly made sense. Amara continued. Your father told me my mother could be in surgery within days, or I could walk away and hope she survived long enough for me to find money. Her voice shook. What would you have done? Dami had no answer. He told you I took money, didn't he? Dami lowered his eyes. Amara laughed sadly. Of course he did. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't give me back 6 years. I know. It doesn't erase yesterday either. I know. For once, Damilare Adebayo had no power he could use. No money that could fix it. No employee he could order. No contract he could rewrite. I was terrified when I saw Zara, he said. And when I saw you beside her, every angry thought I had carried for 6 years came back at once. Amara looked at him quietly. I needed someone to blame. You chose me. Yes, he swallowed. And I was wrong. Dami placed another envelope on the counter. Amara frowned. I don't want money. It isn't money. Inside was a formal report clearing her of responsibility, a letter confirming that she had saved Zara's life, and documentation showing that the employee who made the mistake would receive additional allergy safety training instead of being fired. Amara looked up. You didn't fire her? No. Why? Dami gave a tired half smile. Apparently, I'm learning not to destroy people's lives when I'm angry. For the first time, Amara smiled. 3 weeks later, the bakery door opened. Zara ran inside holding an old napkin. You kept my horse. Amara laughed. It still looks like a goat. It is a horse. Dami stood by the entrance. He didn't force himself into the moment. Amara noticed. That mattered. Trust did not return overnight. Dami started visiting occasionally. Sometimes for coffee. Sometimes with Zara. Sometimes just to ask Grace how she was feeling. Months passed. One evening, Dami came into the bakery without a suit. Amara noticed immediately. Who are you, and what have you done with Damilare Adebayo? He smiled. I'm trying something new. Dangerous. He leaned against the counter. Have dinner with me. Amara raised an eyebrow. In one of your hotels? No. One of your restaurants? No. Somewhere your family owns. He laughed. I spent an hour checking. Amara smiled. I'll think about it. Dami nodded. I waited 6 years. I can manage another day. Amara stared at him for a moment. Then she reached for her coat. You've waited long enough. Outside, Zara was waiting with Grace. The little girl immediately ran between them. She took Amara's hand, then Dami's. and as they walked beneath the warm Lagos evening lights, Dami realized something he wished he had understood years earlier. Sometimes the person who disappears from your life did not leave because they stopped loving you. Sometimes someone more powerful made staying impossible. And sometimes the truth returns through the person you were trying hardest to protect.